Hi everyone! One day before I published this video, it was exactly 2 years since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine started. Most of us didn't believe this could happen. Unfortunately, sometimes the reality is hurting. We support Ukraine and wish for freedom and democracy. We pray for peace. We stand with Ukraine. Today's video will be the first one of two about Moldova. I will tell you about the famous train Bucharest-Chisinau. This train is very popular among tourists and many foreigners choose it to get to Moldova. That's why I think it's worth giving you an honest review about it. We start our trip to Moldova at Bucuresti railway station, Bucuresti Nord. A train to Chisinau arrives 20 minutes before its departure. The wagons of the train are very familiar to any person from a former Soviet Union country. That's the Ammendorf wagon, which was very popular in the USSR. Constructed in GDR, German Democratic Republic, East Germany, the Ammendorf wagons were ridden all over the Soviet Union. As I already said at the start of my video, many bloggers publish videos from the train Bucuresti-Chisinau and name this train as the last Soviet train in Europe. I don't like any hype on Soviet topics. But okay, first of all, we have to define what the Soviet train is, as this wagon was built in East Germany and not in the USSR. Same wagons were also used in China, Mongolia and many other countries. However, yes, the main market was the USSR. Because the manufacture of Ammendorf wagons was stopped in 1996, East German wagons are slowly replaced by modern wagons from other manufacturers, or they are renovated so much that sometimes you cannot even identify that this was Ammendorf before. In Ukraine, Belarus, Russia, most of the wagons that are currently in use were manufactured in Russia. But these new wagons look very similar to Ammendorf wagons and preserve the same concept and structure. Unlike wagons in Romania or in Serbia or in Poland, which look different and have different concepts. If we say that the train Bucuresti-Chisinau is the last Soviet train in Europe, we need to define what is Europe, because if that's not the European Union and this is geographical Europe, then it's definitely not the last Soviet train. There are still a lot in use. But let's go back to the Moldovan train. There are a few types of tickets. You may have a ride in 4-berth compartments, or you may choose a better option with 2-berth compartments. You can book a 1-berth compartment, which is actually a 2-berth compartment, but you will travel alone without neighbors. By the way, if you buy a ticket on the Romanian Railways website, you have to go to the ticket desk at the station in Romania and print it out. Let's take a look at the compartment. On the top there is some space for your luggage. Enough for typical passenger, but could be a problem if you have oversized luggage. There is an individual light for reading. Some time ago there was a radio here, not anymore. There are some hangers for your clothes. Your night train ticket includes bed sheets and a small towel. But you have to make up your bed on your own. While in other former Soviet countries the mattress for your bed is located above you, in Moldova it was located underneath the bed. By the way, it's expected that in the morning you will bring your bed sheets to the conductor. It's not a must, nobody will force you to do this, but it would be nice if you do so. The wagon is warm, but if you wish, you may use a blanket which is located on the top. The 2-berth compartment was probably a redesigned 4-berth compartment in the past, because there is a folding ladder which actually exists in a 4-berth compartment to help passengers get on their upper level berths. The renovation of the wagon brought an electricity socket into the compartment. Well, at least in the 2-berth compartments. The door mechanism and lock are typical for former USSR countries' trains, but probably are a bit mysterious to foreigners. There is also an additional latch in the upper left corner on the door. With its help, you can leave the door ajar for additional ventilation, for example at night, but no one will be able to enter since the door cannot be opened wider. There is a light switch on the wall where you can turn on and off the light or change modes. There are also many other additional shelves and hangers. Near the window there is a table that is shared by all passengers traveling in the compartment. If you want to follow train traditions, I suggest you order tea from the conductor. Try it, and believe or not, but this moment will be in your memory forever. Of course, for your comfort there is also a non-working Wi-Fi and an incorrect QR code to make you even more confused. So don't have any hope to connect to the internet in any way except using your mobile phone internet connection during your trip. I recommend you not to stay awake for too long and go to sleep, as there would be 2 border controls in the middle of the night. So if you want to have enough sleep and don't be a zombie the next morning, I really recommend you go to sleep as early as possible. During the night of my trip, the weather changed significantly and a lot of snow fell down. I was afraid this would influence my trip. In fact, it did. My train was 1 hour late. But this is not that bad considering how bad weather conditions were. At 2 o'clock in the night, the conductor wakes up all passengers. We arrived in Iași, the last stop in Romania. Here we have the border control before we exit Romania. Then the train departs and crosses the border. The Eiffel Bridge is actually the border, and yes, the bridge was built by the same Eiffel that built the Eiffel Tower in Paris. There is just one small detail. Unfortunately, the initial Eiffel Bridge was destroyed during the Second World War. The bridge you see today is a new one, built on the same place. After the second border control from the Moldova side, the train arrives at the special depot. As you probably know, former Soviet countries have another track size compared to European standards. This means that when the train enters Moldova, it has to change carriage bogies. The complete wagon is put up together with you inside, and then the new track size wagon bogies are put underneath the wagon. After that, the wagon is put down. Once again, there are still some trains that are doing the same. For example, many trains going from Ukraine to other European countries. Exceptions are trains that have a terminus stop in Przemysl in Poland. These trains use a Polish segment of a wide gauge railway, same as in the rest of Ukraine, and they don't switch the track size. By the way, Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia were previously a part of the USSR, that's why they also preserve having wide gauge railway, and thus a train Moscow-Kaliningrad passing Belarus and Lithuania doesn't switch the track standard on the way. The train has a special atmosphere. Maybe that's some very unique experience for foreigners who never lived in former Soviet Union countries, but for others that is a very usual night train, and many trains like this are still existing and operating in other countries. So don't get into this hype about the last Soviet train in Europe. You have many other places where you can experience a similar ride on a similar train. But this is a cool experience, try it. As soon as the train to Chisinau starts its trip in Moldova, you immediately feel the difference, as the quality of the railway in Moldova is much worse than in Romania. The train throws from side to side, swings back and forth, but don't worry, the speed of the train is also low, so you will get to the final destination without incident. We arrive at Chisinau railway station. The railway station has a good location. There is a wide range of public transport roads near it. You may use trolleybuses, buses and minibuses. However, if you need to travel outside of Chisinau, you'll need to go to the bus station, which is not near the railway station. Around the railway station, you may find a lot of money exchange offices, and there is one even in the building of the railway station itself. However, if you need to get cash from the ATM, you will face a problem that there are no ATMs nearby. Inside of the railway station there is also a luggage storage, but they accept only cash. Just a couple of years ago, this train station had trains arriving from Minsk, Moscow, St. Petersburg and many other cities. There was even a train Chisinau-Moscow that passed over unrecognized Transnistria without the border control from the Moldova side. Imagine the whole train sneaking over the Moldova border illegally without the border control. Today only a few trains are left. No more trains from Russia and Belarus. This is a train from Kiev, Ukraine. Many of the people that arrive with this train are actually traveling further, and Moldova is just a transit country for them. The war forced a lot of people to leave Ukraine. Most of them dream of returning home in a peaceful Ukraine, but none of them really knows when this day will come. So for now they have chosen a safer place which is outside of their homeland. My wish in this video is to Moldovans. Many of you said to me that if not Ukraine that is still fighting, your country would probably not exist anymore. I wish you all peace and never experience the same as Ukrainians have experienced. Thank you all for your support to Ukrainians and for the many warm words that I heard. Please like this video and don't forget to watch the second video about Moldova, which will be published in the next few weeks. Goodbye and peace.